Living on the outskirts of the Lake District means that we do experience some adverse weather conditions, meaning you need something dependable, something torquey, something versatile, and above all, practical. Therefore, when this turned up on the doorstep, we thought this is the perfect vehicle for the winter months. We welcome the Genesis GV70. I'm Ben Quirk. Welcome to Planet Auto. Now the likelihood is you've seen Genesis and thought, who are Genesis? Well, Genesis is the premium division of Hyundai and Kia. Think of Maybach and Mercedes, Lexus and Toyota. I got my first taste last year, and that was at the Festival of Speed. Now there were cars, there were SUVs, and the interesting thing was they were all ICE. Yep, no hybrids and no electrics. Genesis first came into being in 2015. And since then, what they've done is build a premium range. So things like the GV70, the G80, the G70, the G90, and the list goes on. And the interesting thing is, they came to the UK last year, and their aim to hit the luxury market head on. And that means going through the throat of BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Lexus. Now, let's face it, not all premium brands that have tried to launch in the UK have been successful. Of what we've seen of Genesis over the last few weeks, well, they're definitely heading into the market in the right way.
The business model for Genesis is similar to Polestar, meaning it's all done online at Genesis Studios and your car is delivered to you when it's ready.
Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, Kia, Hyundai, they offer 7-year warranties. Well, they do, but Genesis do it a little differently. They offer a 5-year care plan. So you can get a diesel, which is a 2.2, or the 2.5 petrol that we have. It's not all about the power of one of these either. We've got a smooth drivetrain, it's 8-speed, it's automatic, and the other thing is all models are automatic. The interesting thing about Genesis is they've completely omitted hybrids. They've started looking at electric powertrains. So now you can get a GV60 and a G80 electric. 3 trims to choose from. Premium line, luxury line, and sport line. One of these starts at about 40 grand, which I think is a lot of car for the money. We've got the sport line. You can option up till your heart's content. For example, we've got Napa leather, we've got sports packs, and we've got some tech packs as well. And I suppose that explains why this is closer to 53,000. Sadly, we won't be able to take it off-road. Genesis, the premium range of Kia and Hyundai. I mean, it can't fail to succeed, can it? When it comes to the exterior, well, where do you start? Big prominent grille, it's definitely got a commanding look, and the only word I can describe the front as is aggressive. Yeah, some of the design language on this, well, it's certainly unique. For example, this line here, the bonnet kind of sits flush on it. This is a kind of lip and hooks over. It's rather interesting considering everything else is pretty much flush. Dependent on which trim you go for, depends on how the exterior looks. The sport line, this is just beastly. Massive air intakes at the front, chunkier valance, diamond-esque styling. The sculpture on the front bumper, it's flared arches. Even the bonnet is recessed. The way it blends into the headlamps. And they are matrix LED, so they're automatic. And you've got high beam assist, and they do magical things with the lights. If truth be known, they actually remind me of the i8, the way the lights open up on the lasers by going whew. It's Beauty and the Beast, but it also has a prestigious side as well. I mean, the dark chrome reminds me of the hematite finish on Lady Dorothy. It's a damn good badge, to be honest. It does make you think, ooh, that's a bit special. With a vehicle like this, you expect it to be a little more advanced. And it is. You've got collision detection. You've also got a camera on the front of this that monitors the road and changes the suspension real time. We've got parking sensors, we've got a 360 camera, blind spot monitoring, all types of things. And as I mentioned, the 19s, well, it really needs the 21s, especially with the Sportline pack. We've got a decent, it's not a high profile tyre, but it's say what you call mid-range, which means it's perfect for on-road and off-road. And that really helps knowing that you've got all-wheel drive and a decent ride height, meaning you can be pretty damn adventurous. And with that comes doors that cover the sills. Considering it's an SUV, you'd expect it to have plastic black cladding. And it doesn't. Instead, it's all body coloured. But I think that really adds to this one, especially with it being in the sport line. Power folding heated door mirrors with blind spot detection, and as I mentioned, they do display in the cluster. That is a lovely touch. Black roof rails, and interestingly, no panoramic sunroof. Yeah, every part of this vehicle Genesis have thought of. I mean, for example, if you look at this door handle, it's actually two-tone. I think if this was all classic chrome, it would look a little ostentatious. Maybe that's just me, but this just gives it that sporty touch. Now, red and black's always going to work, especially when you black out the rear windows. Sorry, privacy glass. Now, one design aspect that, well, it's definitely unique is this flow here. I suppose the only person that can decide whether they like it or not is you. Sloping roofline, and that doesn't affect the headroom in the rear, as you'll see. More beautiful body lines, and it really highlights things like the rear lenses. By the way, we've got LEDs front and rear. The current design language is all with kind of grooves and all bits of sculpture, whereas this is just beautifully smooth and follows the curve of the rear. You can tell that they've gone for, I suppose it's premium design language. It's what's reserved for, say, supercars and sports cars. You can tell they're very proud of their brand. And just look at those exhausts. And yes, there's an exhaust behind both. Sporty rear spoiler, high level brake light, and 360 camera. And don't forget parking sensors. Bonnet struts. 2.5 turbo engine. You can tell it's a 4-cylinder. And it looks, I think it's longitudinally mounted too. Like mini strut bars. Now, SUVs aren't always the easiest thing to get into, especially if you've got mobility challenges, and this does have a rather high ride height. However, I think it should be perfectly fine. Just take care when doing so. Keyless entry, and the door opens nice and wide. Immediately, premium materials, plush areas, and this illuminates as well. Even the touch of the switchgear. And look, we've got memory functions for the seats. That reminds me of Dorothy. Fully electric seats. Oh, I've even got massage on my seat. And that's a decent door opening, so this should be child's play. Oh, that's simplicity, it really is. And I've got a grab handle. Oh, I like this black roof. Now, when you climb in one of these, you know you're getting into something special. Everything from the gear selector through to the feel of the finishes. Even things like the recessed start button. And just look at the size of the infotainment screen. Like the exterior, the design language is just, well, it's spot on. It's done in such a unique way. For example, if you see where there's a chrome surround, well, you've got functioning buttons inside those areas. So if you look at a glance, you can think, actually, this is where I use my climate control. This is where I select my media. And this is where I start the vehicle. And it's the same on the right hand side. I've got my descent control, I can lighten my cluster, and I can turn off start stop. Everything's so well done. I mean, you will find hard plastics. Now there's one. But it's carpeted up to here. It's solid, the build quality, I mean, just look at this. No movement whatsoever. Switchgear. Everything from the rotary dials, and I do love a rotary dial. And that's the other thing about this. Everything's so straightforward and easy to use. Electronically adjustable steering wheel with reach and rake. Now I'm going to keep raving on about the media system because arguably I think it's one of the best that I've heard. If I don't want, I don't have to actually touch this at all. I can use this to navigate the whole lot. I mean, you've got the addition of shortcut buttons here, and that makes it really easy to just see things like the menus and your navigation. Operating this is simplicity. It's responsive, it's got loads of functions. You can even set the lexicon audio so you can either be on the stage or in the audience. It's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and you can set a number of settings in here. Everything from your safety to your car, Wi-Fi, internet, and Genesis Live. You've also got your shortcut buttons here with your map, your navigation, favourites, hazards, radio, media, and setup. It's not just your climate control here either. You can operate your heated and ventilated seats and your steering wheel. Also, by pressing various areas of this screen, you can change the airflow. Cluster. Well, it's what you call digital analog, but I like that. They're almost 3D holographic. It just gives it far more depth. And I think the cleverest thing about the cluster is the fact that the blind spot monitoring from the mirrors display on whichever way you're indicating. You've got all these premium materials, but the plastics around here and the plastics around here aren't quite as good as you'd expect. But that's really scraping the bottom of the barrel, because where this vehicle excels is things like the seat. Now, Europe want everybody to have healthy backs and be comfortable all the time. As part of an initiative, you get things like lumbar support and massage, and what that will do is keep your back healthier on a longer journey. Wireless charging pad, USBs, and this is where your drive modes are. We've got Sport, Eco, Comfort and Sport Plus. Paddles on the back of the steering wheel, camera button here. Now you see this kind of shifter more in electric cars, but Genesis have adopted this for their whole range. It's simplicity to use. You've got your drive, your neutral and your reverse, and park in the middle. Now you're probably looking thinking, oh, it must have an automatic handbrake. No, like a Mercedes-Benz, it's on the right hand side here. There's also a button for your power tailgate. Headroom. Well, I've not even got the seat right on the floor, and I've got, well, look at that. That's a decent amount. It's a comfortable driving position. I've got lots of leg room. A big footrest here. The seats are extremely comfortable. Mind you, you expect that with Napa leather, don't you? But what you might not expect is, when you hit sport mode, the bolsters tighten. Bit like the Kia Stinger. I do like touches like that. As for adjustment in the seat, well, cushion height, cushion tilt, backrest angle. You can pull that bit forwards and so on and so forth. You don't expect to see that in an infotainment screen. But the best bit, and if we look at the screen, you'll know when I've activated it. Ergo motion seat. Let's do a workout. Pelvic stretching, lumbar stretching or whole body stretching. I think we'll go for that. The thing about the massage, it's actually working with the engine turned off. How cool's that? 2 cup holders here, storage area here, and if you lift this up, decent storage, 12-volt socket, door pockets, yeah, decent size. Glove box. Let's see. As expected, taken up by the manual. But look at this finish. Ooh. The deeper you look into this vehicle, you can just see, I mean, just look at the smooth motion on the doors. And finally, we have a heads-up display. And it's not a bit of plastic that pops up, it actually displays directly onto the window. So you can see things like road sign recognition, your adaptive cruise. Sorry, the massage is really taking over now. Let's climb aboard the rear. I think this is going to be a chauffeur experience. Oh yes, very nice. The door opening's nice and wide, and this door opens wide too. I do like it when I see that the rears are trimmed the same way as the front. Even this is soft. Stitching, plush areas, everything just feels, well built. Decent door opening, and this opens nice and wide too. Climbing aboard. Well, you do notice that it's got a higher ride height, but it's not really a challenge, and we do have a grab handle. The one thing I don't have is heated rear seats. Yes. I mean, just look at this coat hook. Very nice. I do love a sporty black headliner. Yeah, it does make it a bit dark, but it's quite a roomy car anyway. Also, I'm wearing shades. Yeah, that lightens up quite a bit. Lovely feeling switchgear. Even illuminated too. And a plush area for your arm. 2 speakers. And a small door pocket. Recessed area here for my knees. And an old school net. I can get my feet under the seats. And it's rather comfortable. Decent headroom, even leaning right back. I don't even brush against. Excellent news, especially with a sloping roofline. I've got great visibility. I think the rear seats are raised, yeah, quite a bit. So you've got a perfect view. I've also got a perfect view out the window. Lovely pull down armrest, 2 cup holders. Now when I was in the Genesis car, this came full width, so it makes me wonder if you can get that. I can also recline my seat. That's better. This is ideal for 5 on shorter journeys, but no, that would just ruin the experience. You want 4 people in this. If I think, that passenger's being a little greedy, I can do this kind of thing. That's better. Oh, luckily I can't do it to the driver. That's probably a wise move. Like the front, switch gear, rotary dials just feel great to the touch. And the fact that you can adjust the heat in here and the fan speed. Oh, it's very nice. The one thing that I have noticed, and I'm a bit, ooh, that's a strange thing. This area here is solid plastic. I thought there'd be some kind of padding here, but it makes it as individual seats as opposed to just one giant sofa back, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm just melting into the seats. Touch activated map lights and a central light. Isofixes, USBs here, and of course curtain airbags around the vehicle. The key fob's an interesting one on this. For a start, you've got the lights that come on in the car park. You've also got puddle lights. But on here, there's a couple of buttons that say it can drive forwards and drive backwards. And this is where you open the tailgate. Or you could just wave your foot under the back and hope it works. Hello. And there we go. Look at that. Even on the slant, I can just stand under it. Decent size and no boot lip whatsoever. Be ashamed to drag anything over that, to be honest. Lifting this up. Well, there's your load cover. But even under here, everything's just so well done. Cargo net and your tools and inflation kit. This feels good quality, nice and solid. 12-volt socket on the right, tethering points, little storage nets. And, that's good, I like to see that. Like on the Tucson, you can just pull these to drop the seats. How easy is that? Ooh, I like that. What a place to put a speaker. There's speakers left, right and centre on this, and subs. The boot lights are cleverly located too. Just in here. So there's one in this corner that shines out and then one here. Oh, and here's your shopping bag hooks. As I use the gesture to open the tailgate, the rest of the doors have remained closed. So I need to use either the keyless entry or the button on the key fob. Flat. They've got bits of carpet here to make sure it's one relatively flat loading area. And as you can see, it does lay pretty much flat. Easily get a mountain bike in here and all manner of things. A nice safety feature when these drop is they lock in place. So to release them, you just pull this handle here. Incidentally, this is also where you recline the seat. Try not to do this on a hill because you might need to put quite a bit of strength into lifting it. But because these are such good quality, there's a fair bit of weight to them. Welcome behind the wheel of the Genesis GV70. And this is the mid-range SUV in Genesis arsenal. Genesis.
Genesis.
And the interesting thing is, it's fully ICE. So you've got a 2.5 turbocharged 4-cylinder engine as opposed to any hybrid technology whatsoever. And it has an 8-speed automatic box. It delivers around 300 brake horsepower and it pulls 0 to 60 in about 6.1. And I've just engaged Sport Plus. It drops gears for fun. So as soon as I start braking, it's already got the revs at a nice high point, so you can go in and accelerate very hard out of it.
When you're in sport mode, or is it Sport Plus?
Yeah.
The bolsters tighten up a little bit. Nice and comfortable there. Even though I could feel the acceleration, I wasn't buffeted about.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just getting fully enveloped in the experience of this.
Yeah. Editor's note, Ben is having fun.
Foot down. Now this is the mode that I would use all the time. Yeah, in a a word, it's completely stupid. But the point is, this is what you'd use on a racetrack, and it's pretty formidable, it really is. I mean, I'm sat at 2000 now, slight push down, and now this delivers 400 newton meters of torque.
And you can well believe it.
I mean, listen to that. That was it dropping gears, not me. And again, considering it's an SUV, anyway, that's enough playing. Just in case you're wondering, I managed to get it down to 7.7 to the gallon. That's impressive even for me. Let's see what the other driving modes are about. You've got Sport Plus, Sport, Comfort and Eco. Now we're in Comfort. It's seriously tamed the ride, hasn't it?
It has.
But because we're on 19-inch wheels, it just gobbles up potholes. But it's not surprising when it's got a camera at the front that's it's like permanently, what's the word?
Scanning for potholes. It's a sophisticated system, isn't it, to make the ride?
Yeah, and then in real time starts tuning the suspension. So you're not going to get any of those untoward bangs because it's already seen them and thought, nope, not letting you experience that. Right, let's go into Eco. I suppose the only challenge with this is, as it's ICE, the highest MPG is likely to be around 30. Believe it or not, I actually got 27.3, which is unheard of for me in a 2.5. To put it bluntly, the Genesis GV70 is very well set up. It's great as a passenger vehicle, and surprisingly as an engaging sporty SUV on a back lane, which is quite strange considering its size. But it's what you call pretty teched up. For a start, it's got all-wheel drive, and that's quite a smart system in itself. You can either have, say, 100% on the rear wheels, or you could have 50-50, and so on and so on. So you've got your drive modes here, but if you want terrain, you press it, and then it'll appear here on the cluster, and you can select snow, mud, or sand. No diff lock on this though. But you do have descent control, and when you're in terrain mode, it changes on the screen. And at all times you can see what your wheels are doing and the angle of your vehicle. It shows you the degrees per wheel.
Well, we're getting into high-level pickup terrain, aren't we, with this kind of information?
Yeah. You've even got your latitude there to the left. Perfect for green laning. Comfort-wise, well, the suspension, because it's constantly monitoring the road, it's quite a remarkable system. When I was driving it into Millthorpe last night, there's a bit of a camber on the bridge up here, and you could feel it pull the, I think it was the left shock down. So we went round and dipped and then came back out, and it just felt, oh my word, it felt well planted, it really did. You combine that with sporty, weighty steering, and it's a great driving experience.
Well, it also has been tested on the Nürburgring.
Well, that makes sense.
So you know it handles well.
Ah, that makes more sense with the Sport Plus mode, because that literally turns it into an animal.
It does.
It reminded me of, say, what you'd expect an automatic FK8 Type R to be like. My word, it pulls and it handles with it. So nice weighty steering. Dependent on driving mode, then it can get a touch lighter. Also adjusts the suspension. So if you put it into sport mode, as Annabelle mentioned, it'll tighten your bolsters, it'll weighten up and just increase response time on pretty much everything. You know, the transitions through the box, seamless. Just staggers you how it's fluidity. I mean, it changed the gear then, but I could only ever so slightly feel it. And that's only because of me. You can't actually tell when it's changing gear, unless you're in sport, and then it makes it pretty brutal. But that's what you want.
It's amazing how tightly it corners.
Oh yeah. Well, considering its size, you'd expect it to be a bit wallowy. And yes, you will get body roll in Comfort and Eco mode, but it's pretty much eliminated when you go into Sport and Sport Plus. Acceleration, well, the responsiveness of the box is just, it is lightning fast.
Each Genesis has a range of cutting-edge safety features, including smart cruise control, lane keep assist, forward collision avoidance, evasive steering assist, and more. As for the NCAP, it's yet to be determined, same for the emissions. So it does have all the bells and whistles around it, doesn't it?
Yeah, the brakes are what you call impressive. You've got discs all around, but it's vented at the front and the rear, and you can really tell, especially on the back lane when you're hammering it.
Excellent stopping power.
Yeah. On this GV70, we have an interesting bit of kit. An electronic LSD, so limited slip differential. And yeah, it works. I've not actually had any wheel spinach whatsoever. The way that this puts the power down is remarkable. It's like a mini hairpin. So I'm just going to demonstrate how well it goes around the corner. So we're in sport mode. Smoothly round and holds its composure. The vehicle didn't dip either way.
My handling was...
Oh! All-wheel drive drift there. Love it. But no, you're at home in this. You really are. You've got your creature comforts left, right and centre. Massive infotainment screen, and everything's just easy to reach. It's very well set up. Genesis are doing exactly what they need to get into the luxury market in this country. We're both pretty damn impressed with this, aren't we?
Yeah.